News at 10, first the highlights. Lagos State Government pledges support for Nigeria Armed Forces to ensure safety. Independent National Electoral Commission set to resume continuous voter registration ahead gubernatorial elections in Edo, Ondo states. On the foreign scene, Israeli protesters block Gaza-bound aid trucks, and in sport, Confederation of African Football to reschedule 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. The Lagos State government will continue to collaborate and support the Nigerian Armed Forces to ensure safety of lives and property of residents and ensure continuous economic growth of the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the commitment when the Chief of Defence Staff, Christopher Musa, led his entourage on a courtesy visit to the Lagos House Marina. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who described Lagos as the safest state in the country, commended the professionalism and leadership style of the Chief of Defence Staff in tackling insecurity in the country. While appreciating for more slots for Lagos indigents in the ongoing army recruitment exercise, the governor urged youths to take advantage of opportunity and apply to serve their fatherland, with a promise to continually support the army for more effective operations.
Let me say that for us as a government, we know too well what are the challenges. We understand that we're in government to serve the people. We're in government to ensure that life becomes a lot more meaningful. Life becomes in a lot more, like what we say, it should be the greatest good for the greatest number. Let us use governance, as a tool for development that is centrally driven by people's interests.
Earlier, the Chief of Defence Staff, Christopher Musa, appreciated the warm reception of the governor towards the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who he noted were excited about visiting Nigeria for the first time. General Musa solicited the support of the state government towards construction of the Invictus Games Center to cater for the mental health of Army officers, noting that over 1,000 officers are presently injured and in various hospitals across the country.
If the perception is wrong, then there's a problem. So we have to show sincerity, impartiality, commitment in all we do. And we do not shy away from dealing with those ones that are bringing our names to disrepute. We don't. And that's why we have standing court martials all over the regions. All the divisions have standing court martials. When we have issues that have to be dealt with, we look at them, investigate them thoroughly, and we take them at the courts. The courts also follow the rules of legal system.
He appealed to Nigerians to always portray the country in good light to the international communities, expressing optimism of a great Nigeria. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu will on Thursday bid the state's intending pilgrims farewell as they begin their journey to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the year 2024 Hajj exercise on Friday. Secretary, Lagos State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Said Onipede, said the governor, his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, and other government functionaries would be at the one-day seminar organized by the board as a climax to the weekend lectures and enlightenment programs held across the local government areas of the state for the intending pilgrims. According to him, the seminar with the theme Achieving a Blissful, Rewarding and Acceptable Hajj Experience is designed to further broaden the knowledge of the intending pilgrims on the requirements of Hajj rituals and educate them on the do's and don'ts concerning international travel. Onipede emphasized that the Chief Imam of Igbogbo Central Mosque, Sheikh Abdurrahman Lukman, would be the guest lecturer, while the Grand Chief Imam of Lagos, Sheikh Sulaiman Abdullah, would lead other Islamic clerics in offering prayers for the state government and pilgrims to achieve a successful Hajj operation. Lagos State Government has promised to rejuvenate scouting in basic and secondary schools in the state. Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Ali Balogun, gave the assurance during an investiture ceremony organized by the State Scout Council to decorate him and the Permanent Secretary, Basic and Secondary Education, Abayomi Abolaji. Ali Balogun said with the federal government's policy on safety in schools, if scouting is properly grounded, it will help students on how to defend themselves when in trouble. He promised to set up a committee that will collaborate with local government and local council development areas on how to restore scouting to schools in the state.
Be prepared, that's the motto. And at every point in time, if you have as many as possible of our students and people in scouting as a member, that issue of safety is half solved.
Also speaking, the permanent secretary of the ministry, Abayomi Abolaji, expressed confidence in the group, promising to continuously support and participate in their activities even after retirement. On his part, Lagos State Scout Commissioner Adebeshi Olongtoyin said the association is charged with engaging youths to be morally and spiritually productive in the society.
Basically, scouting will teach you how you'll be useful to yourself, to your country, and to God. In scouting, we believe that there is God. And that is one thing we have missed today, that is making us to find all what we find in our society. Until we go back to the norms, until we go back to the reality, we will not get to try. And that is why we intend to introduce scouting back into the school for us to be able to reduce what is happening among the youth today.
The event had in attendance students from different schools in the state and other stakeholders. The federal government will next week hold a crucial meeting to organize labor for the restoration of the power subsidy and the reversal of the hike in electricity tariff. Spokesperson for the Ministry of Power, Florence Eke, stated this hours after the labor unions disrupted activities at the ministry in Abuja on Monday. The organized labor had threatened to continue with the protest indefinitely, stressing that it might take drastic action should the government fail to reverse the tariff hike. The protest paralyzed activities at the Federal Ministry of Power and the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, and also disrupted the operations of the distribution companies across the country. Now to the rest of the stories. In preparation for the gubernatorial elections in Edo and Ondo states, the Independent National Electoral Commission is set to resume continuous voter registration. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu unveiled plans to commence CVR during the second regular quarterly consultative meeting with political parties in Abuja. Yakubu also notified party leaders about vacancies in the national and state houses of assemblies due to the death or resignation of members in 3 states and 1 federal constituency nationwide. INEC chairman noted that registered voters could transfer the registration from 1 state across the federation to Edo and Ondo state, noting that individuals already registered would have the flexibility to relocate their voting credentials within the confines of the 2 states. The Edo State gubernatorial election would be held on September 21, while the Ondo gubernatorial poll would be held on November 16. And the federal government says formulation of an innovative wage system that will be based on employees' productivity in the civil service is underway. The Director General of the National Productivity Center, NPC, Nasir Raji Mustafa, stated this in Abuja while enlightening Nigerians on what the agency stood for and its mandate. Raji Mustafa explained that with the system, workers on the same level could earn different salaries, noting that the decision was being taken because it realized that productivity was a key factor in the growth of the country's economy. The National Assembly is seeking amendments to the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007 to bar top officials of the Apex Bank from partisan politics. The amendment seeks to prohibit the chairman, governor, and deputy governors of the CBN from engaging in political activities or becoming members of any political party for 3 years after service. It was championed by the former lawmaker representing Abia Central Senatorial District, Darlington Nwakocha, before he was sacked from office by an appeal court sitting in Lagos in 2023. In our foreign news, Israeli protesters have blocked 8 trucks destined for Gaza, throwing food packages on the road and ripping bags of grain open in the occupied West Bank. The lorries, which were set upon at the Takmiya checkpoint west of Hebron, came from Jordan and were headed to the Gaza Strip, where people are in desperate need of humanitarian aid. The White House has condemned the attack, describing the looting of aid convoys as a total outrage. The group reportedly behind the protests said they were demonstrating against the continued detention of Israeli hostages in Gaza. Unverified footage shared on social media showed protesters toppling boxes from lorries onto the ground and stomping on them once they had fallen. Some videos appeared to show vehicles being set on fire later in the evening. Now, sport. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, is set to move the next African Cup of Nations 2025 in Morocco to December. According to a report, CAF has discarded the initial plans of hosting the tournament in July 2025 for December 2025. It was gathered that the football body initially chose to host the 2025 tournament in the summer, but the tournament would clash with the newly expanded 2025 FIFA Club World Cup to be played in the USA, which led to the new date. And that ends our news at 10. Just before we go, speed thrills but kills. Please do not drive beyond specified speed limit. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X Traffic Radio 961, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website at trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration provided 450,000 pupils with e-learning devices? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Government will continue to collaborate and support the Nigerian Armed Forces to ensure safety of lives and property of residents and ensure continuous economic growth of the state. In preparation for the gubernatorial elections in Edo and Ondo states, the Independent National Electoral Commission is set to resume continuous voter registration. We also told you that Israeli protesters have blocked 8 trucks destined for Gaza, throwing food packages on the road and ripping bags of grain open in the occupied West Bank. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, is set to move the next Africa Cup of Nations 2025 in Morocco to December. For contact at the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Aderayo Idowolaya. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for